Good evening, Central Indiana, and welcome to Porch Time Live from JTH Construction Studio. It has been a minute since we've been in studio and on air, but tonight we are live and back at it. And we have some outstanding folks in here with us we'll be getting to momentarily. Please share this, like and share, push it out. Lots of good news, information coming out of this show tonight. Real quick, once again, we are live at JTH Construction Studio. Get a hold of Joe for all your constructions needs. 765-913-8599. American Basement Solutions, Larry Ralph Sr., 1-877-409-2837. I'm telling you, if you got a wet basement, wet crawl space, you got foundation issues, get a hold of Larry. Spring will be here before we know it, and you want that stuff straightened up. Fathom Real Estate, Teresa Messmer, 765-341-8911. Get a hold of Teresa for all your real estate needs. Wellspring, that's Bob Goodrum's group, 765-342-6661. Wayman's Furniture, Appliance, and Mattress, 765-342-4339. Stid's Comfort System, 765-346-0195. Logan's Cosmos, 765-318-3388. The Yard Barber with Andrew Payton, 765-318-4108. What's up, Otis? Livewire, Tommy Walls, 765-792-4012. Get hold of Tommy for all your electrical needs. And let's not forget our gals at Hometown Nutrition, Martinsville, 76. I don't know that number, and I don't have it written down. But protein shakes, boosted teas, just off the square. Hello, Corey. All right, tonight we're going to talk Martinsville Hall of Fame. We have two very distinguished guests sitting across from me. One I've known for a little bit, and one I've known far too long. We have the principal from Martinsville High School, Mr. Jeff Bell. How you doing, sir?
All right, Kim Coryell. He was a good one, folks. Number 52, super quick artesian football.
Here we go. Glad to have you finally in studio. I've known we've been trying to get you in here.
Good to be here.
Now that you know where it's at.
Mo time long, dear friend.
I'll walk you down the street.
Yeah.
Right. And we have the superintendent of Metropolitan School District of Martinsville joining us, Mr. Bowlen. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for having us here tonight.
I'm happy to have you guys in here. I know that you guys are busy people. And Luke Moss says two great men. So you got to listen to Luke. What's up, Bob and Kathy? How you doing, Luke?
Luke's wanting lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's wanting free something tomorrow.
Luke's a good dude.
Yes, he is. You guys have done some you're picking the ball up on something that you got going again that was started a while back. You were just telling me about it, and I was unaware of it. Hall of Fame, Martinsville High School Hall of Fame. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would, and then I'm going to get into talking to you guys about individual stuff, because I can talk to that guy there.
All right.
All night, yeah.
I want to hear some of these stories.
No.
You know what? I'll do one real quick. The class of that man and his family, his dad, and Mr. Smith, Craig's dad. Craig's dad was principal at Smith Elementary, which is, I don't even know, is it Smith Elementary now? But it was
Charles L. Smith.
Charles L. Smith. And then Mr. Bell was principal at East Middle, which is now Bell Intermediate Academy. But there was five of us that always ran together, and they tried to force the fifth one, the shortest, the chubbiest of us, all to play basketball. And we would go in the gym at Smith School at 6 o'clock in the morning, and his dad sometimes would be there, and Craig's dad would be there, and they would work with us five at 6 o'clock in the morning in fifth grade. Now, one of us still never did play basketball, but we had Shields, myself, Sheets, Craig, and Jeff, and we had a ball with it.
Had a great time.
And I never forget this stuff, but class act, class family, good people. But anyway,
Absolutely.
I'm lucky and blessed.
Into that one.
I'm not shocked that you guys are picking this back up. Hello, Luke. Hello, Darlene. Hello, Jake. What's up, Sarah? Like and share, please. All right, tell us about the Hall of Fame.
Well, the Hall of Fame was started by Dr. Furness back in 2007 was the induction, first class of the Martinsville High School Hall of Fame. And Dr. Furness wanted to establish the Hall of Fame so that our students who were in our schools would be able to see people who came before them, who sat in the same seats as they're sitting in, and see that they have gone on to do great things, whether it be in the community, in the state, in the nation, or internationally. So that was his whole goal. And Susie Lips and I were lucky enough to be appointed as co-chairs of the committee at the beginning. So we took it as a badge of honor.
This was in 3?
This was in 2007.
2007.
2007. It was actually the fall of 2006 is when we started taking nominations, and the induction class was February 2007. Wow. And we had a great time. I'll have to tell you, maybe if we get a chance of being able to go out and see Coach Wooden to present him his plaque, because he couldn't make it. But Larry Maxwell and I got to go present his plaque and record his acceptance speech on behalf of him and his late wife, Nellie, at that time. And it was an unbelievable experience. But we've had some unbelievable people who have been artisans and have made a mark in society. And our students need to see these type of role models. And we did it it was every other year, 2007, 2009, 2011, 2013. Then whenever Dr. Furness retired, the Hall of Fame took a hiatus. Whenever Jeff became principal and I became superintendent, that was one thing that Jeff's like, hey, we got to get that going again. And I was like, amen to that. So together, that's one of the things that we wanted to do. Now, it won't be on the odd year. We're going to do it on the even year this year. Okay. So we're starting it back up. So it'll be 2024 and then 2026, 2020. We want it to continue on because we've had some great graduates from Martinsville High School.
That is an outstanding thing, and it started in 2007. Well, see, I don't think I've heard a thing about it prior to or until tonight.
Well, that's one thing that happens if you go on a hiatus from 2013. Yeah, that's 10 years. 10 years, people have not talked about it, and that's why we're starting it back up. And we are very excited about this class of inductees. Great inductees.
Now, I think I saw the list. Can you tell us a little bit who's on the list of inductees?
Yeah. Yep. You want to say it, Jeff?
Sure. I'll start. We got Rod Bray, who we all know lives here in Martinsville, state senator, and
he's done some good.
He done a few good things, and I'd say he maybe has a chance to be our governor here in the coming year. So Rod's in there. Shirley S.L. Burpo, who Kevin we remember, and a dear man. When we were meeting and going through the things, a lot of us remarked he and Betty Nunn were two of the people that. Shirley wrote the sports stuff when we were in high school, but those two people made you feel great to be from Martinsville.
Oh, every could not wait to read what he wrote in the paper about a ball game.
Some great things there, and we'll have some great things at the banquet that he wrote.
You could have gotten beat by 50, and he still found a silver lining, and he could put it down in words.
Yeah, and he and Betty and the Kendalls and things, they made you feel great to be from Martinsville. Dr. Jack Farr, 71, class of 1971, done a lot of great things with orthopedic work, with stuff, you think of knee injuries now, adults can bounce back, years and years ago when ACL or something, you were done for whatever. But Dr. Jack Farr's had a lot of innovations with orthopedic stuff, with knee surgeries and things like that. Class of 71, Marshall Goss, I believe 57, longtime track guy, down at Indiana University, been around, and right now he runs the Track and Cross Country Hall of Fame. They have a very nice building over in Terre Haute. Myron Mo Moriarty, who Kevin, you and I remember pictures of him in Coach Siderwitz's office.
He's been
after after games, and he's Indiana High School Football Hall of Fame. Has won state championships. Coached high school, been at IU. Great career, but he was a role model and somebody that we looked up to when we were kids.
Yes, sir.
And then Cat Sadler, 1992. Cat. Icon in broadcasting and e-news, the media, things like that, national TV, and she will be there that evening to join us. Looking forward to that. So those are our 6 inductees this year.
That's Leslie Clark.
Oh my goodness!
Haven't seen Jeff since '85.
It's been a few. It seems like 5 minutes ago though.
Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it's
yes. Leslie Clark. Hi, Leslie. God bless you.
That's an outstanding group of people there. Do you have the list of who's already in?
You know what?
Not on us right now, but we've got
just
it.
Shoot some names out there.
Oh gosh, you've got Coach Wooden and his wife, Henry Piercy, Bill Poe, Jerry Seasting, Sam and Julie Carmichael. Yeah. Help me out, Coach.
Mike O'Neill.
You mentioned the Poes, yeah. So there's
Ken Roden,
a long time. Kid enrolled to start Biddy Ball, Kevin, when back in the day when we were kids. Great people from Martinsville.
Eli says, "Look at that handsome devil." I think he's talking about me. I don't know. I got to get
Eli's old handsome buzzard.
I got to get him in here too because he does some great work.
He does.
What are some of the criteria needed other than just?
Well, I can go through the criteria. You have to be a graduate of Martinsville High School,
right?
Out for 5 years.
Okay.
Okay. You have to have had special achievements in your area of specialization. Another third is honors, rewards, recognitions. Like you heard Jeff mention Hall of Fame. Mo Moriarty is in the Football Hall of Fame. Marshall Goss, Track and Field Hall of Fame. So those type of honors play into that.
That's pretty much a lock at that point.
Yeah, that becomes a pretty good one right there. Community service.
Yeah.
So we usually have some people that have made a big community impact, and then meritorious contributions to society as a whole.
That's fantastic.
So that's like the 5 criteria. These people exhibit those in fine fashion.
You want, Bill Tutter. Bill Tutter, big influence on us, Kevin. Back then, he's an inductee in the Hall of Fame.
Otis Pugh saying hi to us.
How Otis? Gosh, I remember him from back in the day too. Been a few minutes.
Retired Command Sergeant Major Otis Pugh.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he runs Heroes Wildlife Service, north end of town. He does some fantastic work with veterans. They go out west every year, elk hunt, and he just.
We tell the kids now, for you, everybody, if you like your freedom, thank the veterans.
Yeah. Yep, man, that's a one outstanding man right there. That's another one. I mean, this community is loaded and has been loaded with some unbelievable people.
Absolutely.
And I think it's great that they're getting recognized.
Yes. And these people, and I tell you what, Kevin, we're working on the inductees that are still amongst us. We're going to have several of them there. We'll do everything to get Sharon Tutterow there. I know the Carmichaels, but we're reaching out, people that were inducted in the past and their families, and a lot of them are going to be there tonight. It's going to be a super night, February 17th.
Yeah. Do we get gold jackets or anything if you're in?
Well, we don't. We do not have
gold pants.
However, we do have a very nice 12 by 12 marble engraved, etched plaque for them. That goes up in the high school in the hallway outside the auditorium, and then each individual inductee gets a 6 by 6 replica of that to take home with them. And it is. It's a great night. Always has been a great night. We're looking forward to another one on the 17th.
How did it feel? You went out to California with Wood. How did that feel?
Oh,
I mean, you're talking a guy from Centerton, basically right here in dead central Indiana, that made it all the way, and stayed humble.
That was an experience. That was a day I'll never forget. Being the co-chair, Dr. Furness came to me, and we had gotten word that Coach Wooden was not going to be able to make it in 2007. He was like 96, right? Yeah. And Dr. Furness asked me, "Eric, would you like to go out to California and present him his plaque?" Well, being a basketball guy myself and a coach, I was like, let me think about that. Yeah, I think I might be able to bend the schedule to make that happen. And I went with Larry Maxwell. Larry's a friend of the family, the Wooden family, and he and I flew out to California, presented it. We had a unique day. We filmed him, and the whole idea was to film him just accepting the honor, right? And we had an hour tape. We had our camera going. We start talking. He accepts the honor. And then we just start asking him questions. And all of a sudden, our tape's done. An hour in,
right? Tape's
done. We talked to him for several hours.
So he was still sharp.
He was unbelievably sharp, unbelievably gracious.
Yeah.
We talked to him. We moved into his den, the den that you see out in UCLA.
Yeah.
We stepped into his den. He had a phone call from one of his former players while we were in there. Larry and we asked Coach if he would like to go to dinner with us. There's a famous Italian restaurant that was one of his staples out there. And he's sure. And we had his daughter Jan. She met us, or Nan. I'm sorry, Nan met us, and it was an unbelievable opportunity to have
a lifetime.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I had coached or I worked for Bob Knight. So my my mentor and idol growing up was Bob Knight,
Right.
but the gentleman I worshipped as a basketball person from afar, growing up in Bloomington, I gotta watch how I say that, was
Right.
Coach Wooden, right? So being able to be there that night, it was actually the day after Coach Knight set the all-time winning record. And Roy Firestone from ESPN happened to stop by the table
Right.
and talk to Coach Wooden. Now, I'm just sitting over there. We're just flies on the wall. And he said, Coach, it was really nice of you to call Coach Knight and congratulate him. And he said, oh, it was just a great honor, and I thought I ought to call him and stuff. And I'm saying there is, okay, Bob Knight, I was still excited for him setting the record. And then here's John Wooden talking about that event.
Right.
And the winningest champion coach of all time. You talk about a basketball heaven moment.
Right.
That was it.
To the greatest to ever do it.
To the greatest to ever do it. And to be able to sit there and listen to this gentleman and learn from him
Right.
In all facets, read most of his books,
Yeah.
you know, but to be able then to meet him, talk to him, yeah, it was a wonderful thing.
And he was humble.
Humble.
First day.
Can I share a story about
Well,
him?
sure.
So Elmer Reynolds,
Yep.
they were, the Poe's Cafeteria, if you remember, was closing down, and they were moving their pictures. They had some great pictures at the cafeteria there. And they were going to put some of them down on the square at the frame shop, Maxwell's frame shop there. And Coach Wooden was going to be there on Thanksgiving Day. He'd come back to Indiana. They were going to have the Wooden Classic up in Indianapolis. Now this would have been a few years before the induction thing. And so I was invited to, hey, bring your son and meet Coach Wooden. Now, Tim at that time was probably like 6 years old,
Sure.
you know, something like that. So we go to meet Coach Wooden, get our picture taken, and just meet him for a minute. It was like, okay, this is a great thing.
Sure.
Tim loved basketball. He was wanting to grow up in basketball world and coaching today, all this stuff. But while we're there, here's how gracious a man John Wooden is or was in the example. We're seated there, or he is seated, and everybody walks up to him, greet him. He shakes your hand, says hello. They take a picture. It's one of those type of moments, right?
He's in the 80s at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's in his 90s. He's
At that
early.
point?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So he's seated. You get your picture taken, and Elmer's moving people through.
Yeah.
You know, okay, gotta get him through. You know, because we're imposing on his Thanksgiving time.
Sure.
He had already been to the gravesite of his family up in Centerton. He had come to downtown, and then he was going to go. It was some family commitments after. So we're imposing on this gentleman's time. And we walk up, Tim and I walk up to Coach Wooden. Tim was prepared to tell Coach Wooden that we as a family, we used to read books at night. My wife and I, we'd read books to the kids. And one of the books that we were reading was My Personal Best. John Wooden's My Personal Best. And Tim had a copy of Coach Wooden's Inches and Miles, the children's book. So Tim's telling Coach Wooden, just steps up, shakes his hand, greets him, and starts telling him that he was reading one of his books.
Yeah.
Well, now Elmer's trying to get us through.
Right.
And Elmer's trying to usher Tim and me on through so the next picture can be taken. And Coach Wooden stops Elmer. And he looks at Elmer and said, hang on just a second, Elmer.
Yeah.
This young man was telling me something.
Right.
And he looked at Tim standing right beside him and said, now, young man, please finish what you were telling me.
Wow.
Now, as a father,
Right.
that touched my soul.
Well, sure.
Because here's a gentleman that we're imposing upon his time. And he is thinking that child was more important than anything else at that moment.
Just
right?
the type of man
And he
he
made
was.
Tim feel that what he was telling him was the most important thing at that moment. And I, having been around Coach Knight for years and seeing him interact with people and he really was gracious with people interacting with him and signing stuff and imposing upon his time. But to know how much people do interrupt them,
Right.
I was just astonished, that Coach Wooden would say that, do that. And at that point for me, you couldn't get any higher on the pedestal for me. It's like, that man's an example of what to do.
What an impression on
Yes,
Tim,
it
in
was.
his lifetime.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I wanted to share that so it was an impression on other people.
Well,
if
sure.
you hear this, that tells something about his character,
Right.
right? Nobody else was really paying attention. I was.
Right.
Tim was.
Yeah.
It was important, and that was something.
And he was one of the first inductees into the
Yes, he was in the inaugural class.
Martinsville Hall of Fame.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I want to pick on this guy for a minute, if you
Go
don't.
right ahead.
The gentlemen around here tonight talking about the Martinsville High School Hall of Fame. They're picking it back up this year, and they've got a list of inductees, an outstanding list. But I've known this guy over here on the other side of the table. I'd say probably third or fourth grade.
Yep.
And graduated with him, played football with him. And back in our freshman year, there's a team from Bloomington that we don't like, which we never lost to, by the way. Never lost to. And Jeff was our starting quarterback on our freshman team. And we're up 20-0 or something. I don't know what it was. We're beating the brakes off of them pretty good. Maybe it's only 14-0 in the first half. And they had some talent. The one kid got through on the backside and hit him pretty good, and he fell and broke his wrist. Well, that was this nose guard. He was pretty tricky. He'd line up in the gap or in front of Craig, and then because you had Craig, myself, and Sheets across the front line. Well, they broke Jeff's hand. Well, I couldn't let that slide. So that guy beat Jeff to the hospital with a broken ankle. That's all I'm saying. And Jeff,
I remember that.
Jeff says that I just went and played the game, and later on he goes up to the locker room. Later on he goes, "I knew it was you, but how did you get him to beat me to the hospital?" I was like, "Well, he shouldn't have done that." So.
It was a late hit too, Kevin. By the way.
Yeah, should have called a play.
On me, yeah.
Jane's on here too. I just seen we got a whole class is showing up.
A
Brad
good
Bell
deal.
said two of the best. I don't know which two he's talking about, but I'm gonna assume it's you guys.
No, he's probably thinking about you too.
No.
But Jeff,
I'll call him Sunshine though.
there you go. I've known you a very long time, and when I heard that you were becoming the principal, talk about full circle for one with your dad. And I was like, they couldn't pick a better person. And to this day, I've done, I don't know, probably 20 shows in here with kids since you've taken over. And every one of them, "Oh, you know Mr. Bell? Oh, he's fantastic." I'm like, every one of them. The impression you're leaving on these kids is very similar to what your dad left on us. But I think you're more enthusiastic. You really get your feet wet. I've seen you on TV. I've seen you on videos, and you're out there trying to push the product because you love it.
Yep, I do.
And it's your family,
I do.
And that's awesome, man.
Yep.
Like I said, the minute that I heard they're bringing Jeff back, I was like, Bellcat?
Mm-hmm.
No way, you know?
Yep.
And that's the first thing I was like, they're like, Mr. Bell? I'm like, Bellcat? They look at me like, Bellcat? I'm like, come on.
Now they have to look at his Twitter because that's his
Twitter,
part of the tag. Yeah.
Bellcat.
I tell you, I tell you what motivates me, Kevin, is the kids. And, I said before, I'll say it before, say it whatever. You and I and people, our friend, whatever, we were doggone lucky to grow up when we did and where we did and who we grew up with. And, I've been around long, gone from Martinsville enough to know it ain't like that everywhere.
Right.
And what motivated me, so I was gone from Martinsville for a long time, and absence makes the heart grow fonder and things like that. That's my motivation. I want the kids today to have what we had and even better, because we were fortunate. Luke, you mentioned Luke a while ago. I know a special picture in his office, him and Coach Kuntz. And but you and I were the Tutteros and the Siderwitzes and our school teachers and things. We were lucky. We had those people, and I want myself and our people at school to be like that for these kids, so that they can say that years from now. And I want to come back to Martinsville. Like I say, it's been being gone a long time. There's a lot of garbage you hear out there when you're away from Martinsville that's just not true, and you find yourself fighting, sticking up for Martinsville, and just realize what a great place it is. I mean, he's talking about Coach Wood and these inductees and past inductees. Martinsville's a pretty doggone good place, and I feel even more. I don't want to say qualified to say that, but I was gone for a long time and grew up here, so I was able to see some other places and meet people from all around the world, things like that, and it gave me an even greater appreciation of Martinsville. So that's what I want for these kids. I want them to have what we had, because we were lucky, and I know I want people in Martinsville to never take for granted what we got here. There's always negatives in life and things like that, and unfortunately people sometimes want to dwell on that, but Martinsville's a pretty good place, and I hope we never take it for granted, and I hope we don't stop pushing to keep getting better, because like I say, it's a wonderful place. I wouldn't be here, wouldn't come back, whatever, if it wasn't like that, and I want to give back.
Real quick, Ron Wolf, hello. Keaton, what's up, buddy? And Leah Farron's on here. How
Leah
you doing?
Farron.
Tell Randy we said hi.
Leah Dawn and Randy, yep.
Well, I think it's a blessing to have you back. You know that.
It is.
And it's well said what you just spoke of.
It is. Those people, too, you mentioned Leah, her dad, Larry Emge, was such a...
I was getting ready.
The Larry Emges and the Jim Millers and the coach of the junior highs at East and West. Kevin, we were lucky. I tell you what, and like I say, I've been gone long enough, and I've seen and met and this, that, and the other. I'm not trying to be immodest, but we got a pretty good gig here, Kevin, and you and I were lucky.
You think about...
And I want that for our kids now.
You think about when we first started going back to summer weight program, 4th grade, 5th grade.
Yep.
You had your Randy Taylor, who's, he's going to retire pretty soon from Mooresville. You had Don Lips.
He has retired.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry, he has retired.
Yes.
Yep.
Don Lips. You had Dave Barrett. You had Bill Tutterow. You had Coach Kuntz. You had Mr. Hannaford. On down the lines, Larry Emge, Mr. Miller, Mr. Contreras. Eventually, just some outstanding individuals that were hard on us, but we knew if we needed something, and including Coach Satterwitz, if you needed something, they were there for you.
Yep, we did.
Every one of them.
And we had a lot of great teachers in that high school. I hate to even start whatever because I missed somebody, but the Denny Lyns and the Sue Levels and the John Manns and the Kenny Grays, Joe Lamans.
Well, let's not forget the Ron Bells and the Charles Smiths. We
had some pretty good teachers in high school. We had great teachers and coaches.
Yeah, yes, we did. And even Tom Blank.
Whenever I first came up to Martinsville, 94, 95.
I was getting to you.
Yeah, that's okay. I wanted to tag on to what you're saying. Walking the hallways at Martinsville there in the mid-90s, you had Hall of Fame coaches.
Yep.
Bill Siderwitz, Dave Barrett, Bill Tutterow, Sharon Most, Jan Connor.
Yep.
Let's see. I know
we
we
Mr.
also
Babbitt from the
Wayne Babbitt
team that won nationals.
Yes.
Wayne and Jenny, yep. 2 more great people from Martinsville.
Yeah, and you see that, and it's like there's nobody could during that time period match us.
Nope.
I mean I would put that group up against any school in the state of Indiana to meet those qualifications. Right. That's just unbelievable.
Coach Connor.
Yep.
Coach Connor being one of those.
And Coach, I tell you, it's somebody I wasn't here then, and what I'm talking about earlier. People outside of Martinsville would want to put it down and not realize these people or acknowledge them, and we need to celebrate them.
Right. You got to. I mean, first of all, they deserve it. But it also shows these kids that they got something to work for towards too. And the people that, and it's a family show and all, but you're not just BSing them. There's a track record of good people coming from this building, coming from this area, and it shows. You came here in the '90s and haven't left for a reason. I know you've tried to several times from moving in, but you're here. And I think when you took over as superintendent and Jeff took over as principal, and you look down the line, if you want to say food chain, I don't think we could be any stronger than we are right now in the district. It'd be hard to beat. And I think that is vital especially nowadays. And now you got to grow it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You got your generals in place. Got to make it happen now.
We got to turn these kids out to be good citizens. So I'll tell you what, Kevin, I've been around a lot. Hear a lot of negatives out there. Kids, you know what? We don't have a kid problem. We have our problems, and kids do dumb things sometimes, and knuckleheads. But you know what? We were too. And we don't have a kid problem in this society. The kids I'm around 1,400 of them every day, and I love them. There's times, they do this, that, and the other, but we just got to keep the train rolling with them turning out to be good citizens and evolving into great adults.
I've had, like I said, I've done about 20 shows since you've taken over, and it's a lot of 20 kid shows, whether it be the fall foliage or FFA kids, or Dillman's daughter was in here last week, choir, music, sports. I have every one of the wrestlers, good, high quality kids, very respectful. Love the gymnast girls were in here last year. I had Gabby and Lily. Gabby's doing outstanding again this year. Just some unbelievable talent in that school. And keep going. You guys are doing.
We got to do it. We had a field trip a while back. Over 100 kids went to VU vocational or whatever, and nothing but great comments from the VU people.
Yeah.
And I saw something online the other day about how a team had left the locker room, and then I think about getting last year a thing from the Franklin people about Coach Duggar's kids leaving that one spotless, and that's what it's all about. That's what life's all about. Yeah, we want to win, and we're going to win, and we're going to leave it all out there. But, how you treat others and what you're going to do with yourself and things like that's what it's all about.
100%. Tell us a little bit again, since we got a whole bunch more people on. You got people saying hi to you.
Well, that's nice of them.
Tell us a little bit again about the Hall of Fame, why you guys are actually here tonight.
Well, just what you both were talking about, setting these kids onto a path that they know that they can achieve great success.
Right.
Because, in this day and age, kids get beat down. Kids are bad, kids are this, kids are that.
There's Jane.
And
Jeff.
they often
Jane.
feel that they're stuck and their dreams might not be attainable. But they can see the kids who grew up in the same area, grew up in the same school system, grew up going to the same school, having the same challenges, aspirations, desires, and dreams, have gone on to do unbelievable things. That means it's attainable.
Yeah.
And that, once it becomes attainable in their mind, sky's the limit. And that's what we're trying to do. There are some kids that have great support. That's part of life. They have great family support, great family opportunities that they're exposed to, stuff like that. They're going to go be successful. They often will. And we're glad to be a part of that. But I think one special part that Jeff touches and hits and that we strive to do as educators is to reach kids that might not have that opportunity. Right? And they can achieve this kind of greatness as well.
Right.
That's what you try to do in education, to touch them and help them to aspire to greatness and then go on that path to do it. It's a stepping stone. Once they find out, hey, education is a great tool. It's a key to open up things.
Lisa Arnold, there's another 85 right there.
There's one.
Prime example.
Yes, prime example. Running a president of Home Bank. What a great community.
Valedictorian.
Yeah, a great community neighbor.
Yep.
Make hometown proud, right?
Right.
That's what this is all about. And that's what we're trying to show the kids. I was blessed for the years I was here. I grew up in Bloomington.
I'm sorry.
And I know. However, I was born in the Morgan County Hospital.
There you go.
I was born, and my parents.
We can't have that anymore.
Yeah, my parents kidnapped me after 2 days and took me down to Bloomington to grow up. Right. But then I returned home. That's how I feel. I returned home. But the first thing I got to do as superintendent, my first hire, Kevin, was Jeff Bell.
That's a good call.
Oh.
That was an easy call in my book.
Now, what the heck was I thinking?
Were you over in Vigo?
I was in Clay City.
Clay City.
Long time, yeah, close over there, yeah.
Yeah, so, hiring Jeff, it was an easy thing. And to watch, I always enjoy watching his interaction with the students.
It's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. And I love that because I hear from the kids. I try to meet with them and talk to them all the time as well and be vigilant and be visible to them and to hear them talk about Mr. Bell.
Yeah. And I tell you what, and what Mr. Bowlen, one thing he hit on a while ago there, the word obtainable and things. The kids need to realize what's out there and what they can do. I think, and Kevin, that's what, while we're here with the community, I want to encourage our community. Our kids now, they've been through COVID. They had to stay home. A lot of them, it was a critical time and, growing up and hormones and it was a critical time in their life. And I see too much of after we've come out of that, and not pointing fingers or whatever, but you can't do this, you can't do that, or it's okay, or this, that, and the other. Let's not shortchange these kids. By gosh, we're going to take care of any of them that need help. We're going to take care of any, whatever. But society and this community, let's all work together, but keep pushing them that they can, like Mr. Bowlen was talking about, this and that are obtainable. Right. And, let's keep pushing them. You can do that. You can go for that. You're worth it. Your life is worth it to us. And I hope our community and our society will do that. And we'll come back after, some of these years of COVID and this, that, and the other. And the kids have well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. Let's get past that and push them. We'll take care of anybody needs help, but let's not shortchange the kids what they can do. I see too much out of that. They can do some pretty doggone good things.
Oh, I agree with that.
In our community, one thing that has impressed me since I came to Martinsville, 94, 95, a year I'll never forget, changed my world, is the community support. We wanted to start up, get our students exposed to robotics, right? The new STEM initiative and all that, and get robotics competition, get involved in that. FlowSource steps up and sponsors, gives us a nice big check to sponsor our robotics and initiated us into the robotics world again. Yesterday, our kids, we had all of our elementary teams participating in Bloomington, along with Bell Intermediate down there in Bloomington yesterday in this big competition. It was like, wow, because we had community support. That amazes me.
And that's something special about Martinsville, like with Clay City. We still have one heartbeat here from K through 12 and the whole community. Like I'm fond of saying, you don't see it ain't like that everywhere. So let's not take it for granted.
Katie Stuckey. I grew up in Clay County, went to Clay City for a short time, then back at Northview. But I remember Mr. Bell at Clay City, seeing him at every sporting event. Now raising our daughter in Martinsville, loving it. She starts kindergarten this August.
God bless you, Katie.
They're following you. He's got to follow.
We'll take good care of her. Yep. We'll take good care of her.
I did have a list sent to me, Kevin.
Okay.
Of the inductees from the past.
Okay.
If you want to hear it,
yes,
I think the audience out here might hear it.
There's another good man just popped on here. Rob Helms is on here. So
yes, Rob
Jason
talked about
Carter.
doing a great thing for the community with all the concerts and stuff. That doesn't happen everywhere. Yep. And it's amazing to see that.
One of the blessings that I've gotten by doing this is running into people like you guys and Rob and some of the people that we come across. And I go to my work, my normal job that I've done for 35 years, and I'll tell these guys what we're doing, and they're like, Martinsville's doing that? And I was like, well, the community is. Well, I'm from Danville. We do something like that, but not like that. Or I'm from Delphi, or I'm from Crawfordsville, or they're amazed at some of the stuff that goes on down here. And then they tune in and they listen and they watch. You guys are always doing something down there. I was like, our community likes doing that. That's what we do.
It is.
And it's
amen
amazing.
to that.
Yeah. Let's hear that
In
list.
class of 2007, we had former Governor Emmett Branch, Julie Carmichael, Sam Carmichael, Henry Pierce Sr., that is, Jerry Seasting, Richard Steerwalt, business entrepreneur, and Dan Neal and John Wooden. What a class, an all-girl class, right?
Only thing I don't like about Mr. Piercy is he drove around in a big 4x4 on snow days, and we never had a snow day.
I heard rumors about that.
We didn't miss school back then, so. But yeah, that's a list right there.
Yeah, that is.
This year's inductees, though, the list you guys have right now, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
Too.
It's pretty amazing, and that and Kevin, that's why Mr. Bowlen asked us to be here. We want to promote it. We want the community to come out. It's been dormant for these 11 years, and now it's coming, and it's going to keep. We'll get it back there and keep getting it bigger, but we want this to be a community celebration too, not just for those families. The banquet on the 17th starts at 5 p.m. It's got a nice dinner, and it's open to the public. We've got tickets available. You can see Courtney at Central Office or contact any of us. But that's why Mr. Bowl
on Facebook that I could share?
There will be.
There will be, yeah, because we want people to come out. We got tickets for sale, and a wonderful Kurt and his staff will do a wonderful dinner. We'll have a great program, kids playing music and things like that. But I want to see a lot of people from Martinsville come out there, just because we're together in one heartbeat and celebrate these people and things like that, because it ain't like that everywhere. But I hope people come out, because I think too, what triggered me something like this is something Ron and Jan Bell would be eating up and would love to be there if they were still alive. So I want the people of Martinsville to know about this.
Yeah.
One way or the other, porch time and social media, and we don't have all the Betty Nuns and S.L. Burpos in the newspapers and things like that anymore. But that's a big goal. We want Martinsville to be proud, and yeah, it's about these 6 people, but it's a celebration of Martinsville as well. And we want a lot of people from the community there. I want to see them.
The tickets are $20, and it gets you the dinner and gets you in for the event, and then they're going to be honored at the
basketball game
that evening.
Where is the location the dinner's being held?
At the cafeteria.
At the high school.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And it's a formal affair. We'll have some music playing and tablecloths and waiters and servers and all that good stuff.
Chris Hester's asking again who the 6 are. Can we read those off?
Yeah, read those off. Rod Bray, who's still in Martinsville, state senator, and a lot of my peeps tell me he might be governor someday. Shirley Burpo, he was class of 1957. We talked about him. Dr. Jack Farr, 1971, doctor, orthopedic guy, did a lot with knee repair. Marshall Goss, longtime track guy, track coach, IU, runs the Hall of Fame now. Myron Mo Moriarty, class of 73, one of our role models, great career in football coaching. And then Kat Sadler, class of 1992, who made a big mark in news broadcasting, the E Network, very, very famous woman internationally.
Oh, yeah.
And she's from Martinsville, and she will be there that evening.
I was going to say, is she going to make it back?
She's going to be there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Shirley Burpo, Kip's dad.
Yep. Bob Staggs.
Bob Staggs. Some of the best sports announcers and writers, because we could have had a terrible game, but Bob and then Shirley the next day made it sound like we beat the Bears.
Yep.
It was just a fun time to grow up in this.
Hearing Bob Staggs say, "Here come the Artesians," it was like we're invading, buddy.
Well, having grown up in Bloomington,
right,
we could pick up WCBK, and believe me, we listened.
Yeah,
whenever we wanted to tune in, and it was great announcers, and it was an event.
Yeah,
it was a show, and that was one thing that we always knew, that when you were ready to play Martinsville, it was going to be a battle. It was going to be a contest. It was going to be something memorable.
The ore that Coach Siderwitz built, and just the program from ground zero, and he got the city, the school, and the kids and the parents to buy into it. And from that point on, it was. He wrote that for 30 years.
It was his original Friday Night Lights before there was a TV show.
Oh,
you think back to our day with
Justin.
Be 10,000 people out there, and Aaron, Coach Duggar, and
they just look at you like
they can't believe it. I remember times Coach Kuntz getting on the, you guys, you think it's pressure in practice. What are you going to do when they're standing 6 deep on the fence? And people don't, but that's the way it was back in the day. But Coach Siderwitz, he had a great staff. And but they developed that, and it was the original Friday Night Lights. And it was I went to, when I remember going to college, and meeting kids from other areas and some, high schools that I vividly remember some kids that went to L&M down in Greene County. They didn't have football and talked about, man, you're from Martinsville. We didn't have whatever. We would drive up to Martinsville because that was the greatest show you'd find on a weekend. The gold pants and the air horns and the bombs and the fireworks and things like that. But I remember meeting kids and all through my life, all kinds of other people say, man, we lived whatever. We went to Martinsville and watched football on Friday night because it was the greatest show you could find for $3 on a Friday night.
Right. Just to hit on that real quick, you remember I had Jason Whitlock, who's now on TV, across from me. He was a junior.
Yep.
But his brother Jared, who was built like that wall over there, was the end on that end.
Yep.
He was a senior like we were. Graduate, go in the Army, and I'm in a beverage place in Germany on post Friday night, and there's nothing but 200 GIs in there, and I keep hearing this conversation behind me about Indianapolis and this and that, and this guy keeps saying he lives 30 miles south of Indianapolis, and I'm like, if I turn around, I'm going to know who this is. I guarantee it. So I'm going to finish one I got because we're going to be in a conversation for the next 3 hours. It's Kenny Fincham's oldest son, and he's humongous. I was like, holy cow. And I'm standing there talking to him, and all of a sudden, I look up, and this big dude, he looks over and looks at my tag, he goes, Coriel. And he turns, Jared Whitlock. It was in Germany when I was, and we sat there and talked Warren Central Martinsville football for the next 2 hours. Still giving me cold chills. And I could not believe it. And that we sat there and probably downed a few and just had a great conversation. And he said they ended up winning. They were ranked number 1 at the end of the year in country. And he said, well, they feared us because you guys just kept coming. He goes, even in the first game, he goes, we watched you throughout the whole year take care of business. He goes, stumbled a little bit at Shelbyville. And I goes, yeah, I think we were looking ahead trying to get to you at that point. And he said, you guys just kept coming. I go, but you guys, your lines were bigger than the University of Michigan that year.
The talent, they were ranked, I remember, second nationally in the USA Today newspaper
the first
poll.
time we played them. And we were like 19th, believe it or not. They ended up, I think, 1 or 2 in the nation after they.
Yeah, you had Jason Whitlock, and you had kids that went to Michigan and Notre Dame. Of course, Jeff George
Lance
Shai went to Purdue, and they were loaded.
I tell people Jeff George was a better quarterback at Warren Central than he was at any other level.
He probably was.
The only guy I've ever been able to stand on the sidelines and hear the football being thrown.
Yep, he was good.
Time for me to go in the military.
He was,
This is about Well, gentlemen, I want to ask you this, because I see a lot of this in here. Great kids. Great kids come from a great community, have great role models. That's what you're doing, and that's what you're implementing now. Look what you can become. We have doctors, lawyers, famous people across the globe from our community. How do we expand it? How do we get the kids coming back here, numbers-wise? I know they're down everywhere. It's just not a popular thing right now. But what can we do to help you, or any ideas? Because I tell everybody, I know there's a lot of things going on right now that none of us can control. But I think that's going to turn the corner soon. But getting kids back interested, I think what I try to do here at the football games, and I'm just going to tell it is, that's the cash cow. You get them interested in football. You bring the students and the people back. That's what we're trying to do here at Portside. Crowd that stadium, get the kids interested, bringing back Martinsville. That's my vision in my head. Is anything else? What are we trying? What do we do? I know you guys.
Well, that's one of the things. One of our big initiatives over the last couple of years is you need to make it a destination.
Exactly.
Right. And in order to be a destination, you have to have good things for them to come into. Right. So our facility upgrade over the last couple of years was intentional. It was to provide facilities and opportunities for our kids that they might not get somewhere else.
Right.
We have great game day facilities.
Amazing facilities right now.
Now, practice facilities, that would be a different discussion. because we don't have the practice facilities, because our game day facilities get used for practices.
Right.
That's just part of it. But we're looking to do more, right, as far as that goes. And I think we need to do some things, make an investment in the district for other things for us. We have a committee that is investigating and looking at what are we wanting Martinsville to look like in the next 5, 10, 15, and 20 years.
Right.
Looking down the road and coming up with a vision. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do? We have old facilities, schools.
Yeah.
Right? We have old schools. Martinsville High School, the old one that was on Main Street, there used to be the high school property. It became West, and now it's John R. Wooden Middle School. That building was torn down after 62 years of occupancy. And they built the quote-unquote new high school.
Is it still sinking? Is the building still sinking?
Well, rumors are there. So that new high school was built. And think about how old that is.
1980.
76, 77.
80 was the first graduating class.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what you have. So 62 years. Now, we have 10 academic education facilities right now. And 5 of them are older than what that old high school was. So we are in the process of determining what will be the best footprint for Martinsville in the near future. We've got to make some changes. We've got to do some things. And this committee has a community people, staff, parents. We have a good group that's looking at it to say, all right, this is what we want Martinsville to look like. And it all goes hand in glove with a vision. If we want to bring kids back, if we want to offer them things and opportunities. I hear people say, well, that means you're going to have to go spend money. Well, are our kids not worth it?
Our kids are worth it.
Yes. If other kids in other communities get it,
right,
why should our kids not get it?
Right.
I can't get my arms around that. That's not Martinsville.
Right.
We've always done what's best for our kids.
Yep.
And I'm proud of that.
Yep. And Kevin, you mentioned community. Hey, just encourage the kids.
Yeah.
They can do. There's some. They can all do great things, and STEM, science, technology, engineering. There's so much stuff out there with that, and our robotics kids, and the music dramas. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great things they're doing. Just encourage the kids, make them know it's not taken for granted, and we got to keep encouraging. Don't take Martinsville for granted.
Right. Max says, how about a shout out for our 20-3 wrestling team who took second in the sectionals?
Yep, yes. The grapplers are on there. Max, thanks for filling it. Mac, thanks for filling in on the PA last week. Mac helped us out, and I enjoy watching his son. That's been a good thing for him. But we've got the wrestling sectionals, regionals next weekend. Swim sectionals coming up this week, Thursday and Saturday. Wrestling regional. Gymnastics still got a few more weeks to go before there's girls basketball sectional Tuesday night versus Bloomington North at Mooresville. So a lot of great things going on.
Fredericks and Mac got me to go over to the Legion when they did the pancake thing. The rest, I don't think it was the actual school team, but it was a group that they're affiliated with. Talk about some of them just well-behaved young men. Those guys were on it. It was just a pleasure to work with them. So proud of Michelle Chandler. She does so many good things for community and schools, a class of 92.
Yep.
Get lots of kudos.
Yep, that's it.
Regardless.
And we got to keep, Kevin, this Hall of Fame, it's starting back up here after all these years, and that's something else, the community. The next go around, we get those we're kind of getting our toes back in the water now, but it's going to keep going. There's a lot of great people out there. So these next rounds, let's make sure we keep nominating those people out there that we want to recognize. Right on.
I know this. Our community, our school system is in good hands right now. You two gentlemen are leading that. As I said, when I heard the chain of command that our district was in, I couldn't have been more proud. And I think that it's a noticeable change and improvement in the whole district. And you guys are on the right path. And like everything, Rome wasn't built in a day, but you guys have made leaps and bounds from where we were and where you're heading to. So, and I think this is a right step. This is awesome.
Yep.
Hall of Fame. That's I just still think you guys should give gold pants to each new member.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, yeah, help us promote them. Get the community out February 17th, 5 p.m.
Kudos to the girls cross country team for winning the superintendent's academic award. Look at that.
They had
4.3.
I mean, my goodness.
Really?
Yeah. You got 8 kids out there. They might be smarter than you, Mr. Bowlen.
Oh, they are. I looked at them and said,
They're all about-
you guys need somebody like me for diversity.
Yep.
Bring that grade point average down.
Right.
But you know what, too? And those kids are all about straight A students. And I saw Coach Chrismore after the game. I said, you know what, though? It's because you coaches make it primary. Coach Duggar had 6. No, maybe more. We're going to get the word out. The academic all-state.
I seen that.
And so you got to make it a priority and things like that. And we need adults. Well, that's why I say, community, you can help us with these kids. Make them feel wanted. They can do it.
Yes,
you know, let's find a way to get stuff done versus being I don't know if they can do it. Let's find a way that you guys can do this.
I love it. My wife's a teacher. We have great schools athletics. We come back class of 95. I'm going to give the football team a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
They battled East Central,
Mm-hmm.
one of the top teams in the state, regardless of class. Tooth and nail, and if not for a bad call on an onside kick there in the second half. Who knows how that goes?
Mm-hmm.
But then East Central didn't even get touched.
Didn't even blink the rest of the way.
And I've talked to Coach off and on about that, and he's love what he's doing.
Yep.
I love the Midnight Madness. We'll be back out there when it rolls back around. Just think it's all moving in the right direction.
Yep.
So
A lot of great things
we can
going
get
on.
Ralph Stiles and let the fireworks off. And
There you go.
all right,
There you
guys.
go.
Anything else closing, Mr. Bowlen?
Well, I do want to get the class 2009 told to you because I don't want to leave anybody
Yep.
out.
Oh, I'm
Kevin.
sorry. I am so sorry. Go
Dr.
right ahead.
Dr. Rebecca Leonard. She
Okay.
created.
She'll be there the 17th.
The artificial tongue.
Really?
Yes.
Carmichael's be there.
Governor Paul V. McNutt Quad down at IU. Paul V. McNutt, Martinsville High School.
No kidding. I
Yes.
did not know that.
Most people don't. You know, they go to the IU people go to McNutt Quad, or they know McNutt and all that. Well, you know, he was close to becoming president of the United States back during right after FDR. He served over in the Philippines and helped the Philippines become a country again after the war. Unbelievable person. Let's see, Betty Nunn. Sandra Postal, who was an engineer for Boeing.
Yeah.
She was a great one. Let's see. I want to make sure I get the next group. Apologize.
You're fine.
Richard Bray, Ralph Foley, Richard Humphreys. The class of 29 goes back to Coach Wooden's time frame, and Dr. Randy Wells. And then we had we created a military portion of this, and Ryan Frischi was the first inductee on it.
Fantastic.
And that was back, obviously Ryan was class of 2002, but we had that done as well.
That's
We want to do some more stuff in the military vein as we move forward because, you know, Jeff has the same feel I do. The Patriotic Fervor Martinsville is a tried and true patriotic community.
100%.
And that's something that we honor and will continue to honor. So,
Amen.
What a great group.
Stephanie says thanks to the 3 and making the dunk Riley $500 yesterday.
Great stuff.
That was cold. So
That is
my partner to the right.
Yeah.
My partner to the right was really, really warm yesterday
He had
at
tickets
the
somewhere.
Butler game, while I was seated in 41-degree weather with it. I think it was snowing.
Look at it
that
this
time.
way, though. What if it had been 2 weeks earlier?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes.
Minus
You
10,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Yes,
So
you got that
Be
right.
glad that it was in the 40s.
And Josie, she told me that, hey, we got warm water or hot water we're putting in it, so it'll be great. Well, I was the last person to go. So what do you think the temperature of the water
about
was?
30.
Yeah, it was. And I was just thinking of Jeff having hot dogs, popcorn at the movie
well.
you know, up there at Butler.
But he was up there
you know what?
representing Martinsville, I guarantee it.
It was done for the kids.
Yes, sir.
And Jeff was the one that was going. You know, he got other people there to do that for the kids. And
they do a great job with Josephine and Chloe Jones. I think last year they presented at the end of the year marathon like $29,000.
Yeah.
So.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Mr.
Kids helping kids. It don't get any better than that.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, it's been an honor to have you guys in here. I couldn't wait to get you guys in here tonight. I've been trying to get him in, but he's always got tickets somewhere or something. You know,
He's a popular guy. Right?
No.
He's pulled everywhere.
But as I've said, every kid that comes in here, nothing but love and respect for Mr. Bell. And the two kid, all of them are like, oh, you know Mr. Bell? Yeah, I know Mr. Bell. I can
You're Mr. Bell's friend now.
I was going to say,
That's what
right,
you're known
right,
as.
Right.
He protected me a lot back
Right.
there on that front line.
Like, I've known Mr. Bell long before there's a picture of all of us together at one point in time. Somebody's got Chris might have it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm just like, man, that was just eons ago.
Yep.
So
We were lucky to grow up when we did, where we did, and who we grew up with.
yes, sir, it was right here in
Let's
the
let these
community.
kids do the same thing.
100%. Anything closing, Jeff?
Nope. Just thank you for having us here. I know Mr. Bowlen reached out to you. We wanted to get the word out about the banquet on the 17th, 5 p.m.
$20 a
We
ticket.
want the community there. It's about these six, but it's also about our community. So community come out. We got a ball game as of now, after the Greenfield's undefeated. So we got that banquet, ball game, a lot of great stuff. And let's keep encouraging the kids.
I'm going to interrupt you because Coach Duggar just logged on.
No.
We're closing.
Oh, he did.
We're closing, and of course he comes on now. So we're not. He missed all the nice stuff we said about it. So. No. Thank you both. Thanks, Mac. Mr. Bowlen, anything in closing?
No, I want to thank you as well. I think Porch Time has been a good community neighbor for us.
We try.
And that's been a great relationship. And we appreciate, I've seen what you've accomplished over the years, helping individuals, helping our community, the impact that is on people. That's what it's all about. It's all about relationships. It's all about people. That's one of the things that makes Martinsville special.
Yep. And
I came here in 94, 95, and I haven't left. There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
And Martinsville and Porch Time, he probably didn't get it. Kevin Coriel, veteran, served your country, still a proud patriot. And here you are serving our community. I mean, let's make sure we don't take Kevin Coriel and people like that for granted. Veterans and people that here giving back to the community.
Thank you, sir.
Helping others. It ain't like that everywhere. God bless you, Kevin Coriel.
Number 8 in your program. Number 52 in your program.
Number 1 in your heart.
Number 1 in your heart. All right. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow night. I got a bunch of beautiful young ladies coming in, Faith and a few others. Robert G. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Love you guys. Tomorrow's Monday. Get out and make the most of it. Keep a smile on your face. And we will see you tomorrow night.